Yeah, you're live now.
Yeah, you're clear. You've got to be your cool glasses on.
It's bright here. It's bright and sunny. So yeah, but I don't feel it. But yeah, thanks, Brian. You look good too, mate.
They all look good. What you been up to?
Everything. Just work. Just setting up this new law firm. That's been busy. Just piecing everything together, streamlining the practice areas, working with a million third parties. It's just been exhausting. Long days. Today, I'm not togged up in a suit, which is good. A little bit more relaxed, as you can see.
I noticed.
It's just, I just don't feel relaxed today because here we are on a Sunday, plugging everything in and trying to get a head start for tomorrow. Catching up with friends and family like yourself back home over the weekend as well. Yeah. So at the minute, just don't really feel like I've been able to have 5 minutes to myself. But that's the way things are.
Pestering you.
Well, I can't think why. The big reveal, which is going to be exciting for everybody. So I'm looking forward to so when you can confirm that, and I think everybody else they're going to enjoy hearing that too. So.
Yeah, it's all through you anyway, mate. But we give you a good shout out the other night. I don't know if you've seen Saturday's show.
I did see some of it. Yeah, I did see some of that.
At the very beginning, he asked me. Yes, Kevin Kilty. He asked me questions. He's going to be asking me questions about murders and shootings and kidnappings. I said, I'll have to speak to my barrister David Ashton before I answer any of them questions.
Allegedly, right, Brian?
Yes, all allegedly.
Allegedly.
It's always allegedly. I think he invented that word for the gangsters. Yeah.
Well, this big reveal, you'll probably get a lot of those kinds of stories coming up, so it's going to be interesting. I think as well for the people who view your podcast, the people who are interested in that genre, I think they're gonna be happy when they hear about who's gonna be on. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed we get that over the finish line.
Yeah, we've also got Gary Carroll, the army lad, who's he's coming on next week or so. He's a good, interesting lad. So things are starting to go good. We'll have to get you on, David.
You're on now.
Yeah, well, you're on now, but we'll have to get you on. Now. Yeah, we'll get this Fight 100 sorted out.
Fight 100. We have got some things in the pipeline that we're going to reveal very shortly. We're hoping to have a full-time weekly podcast with our buddy Ben Doty, he's popped up a couple of times in some of the posts that we've made recently. Ben is a consummate professional. He is one of the numero uno boxing journalists in the UK. Somewhat understated as well. When you listen to Ben, I mean, he's very polished. He's a well-educated guy, and there's not many people out there that know more than boxing than Ben. So he's a great guy. We're hoping to have him on as a regular fixture in the build-up to the first event. We're hoping to have we're looking at late summer for a first event, but in the meantime, we're going to continue to pick up some fighters, get some sparring footage together. Get them out there in some of our merchandise. Rules and regulations are designed to force knock out the pace. So when these guys get in, basically what we're doing, and you and Emma have already done this for us, and we're very grateful for this. I know Joey is, as well as Anthony. I was on the phone to them about an hour ago, and so Joey, Paul, and Anthony, they both appreciate what you've been doing for us. But when all is said and done, the real marketing is really going to come from when we start to release the footage of the sparring, and we actually have a date for the event, the first event, because the marketing then should really just take off and answer any questions that are out there for itself. It should be self-explanatory at that point, which is great. But the rules and regulations, basically what we've done with Fight 100 is we've taken the bad bits out of boxing, politics, best not fighting best, holding, journeyman, draws, poor judging, and we've taken the poor bits out of MMA, mixed martial arts, and rolling around on the floor, stuff like that, which just isn't really visually pleasing. to a lot of fight fans. Yeah, that's the general feedback that we've been getting. Yeah. And I urge anybody to go onto YouTube and just look at any big fights in boxing or in MMA, and you'll see the same kind of negative comments coming back time and again. So what we've done is, I mean, Joey's the godfather of unlicensed boxing. Anybody that knows anything about the Pyle family in London, they're right up there with the Richardson and the Crow twins. They set up the governor title, unlicensed boxing. And Joey's dad, Joey Pyle Sr., Big Joe, God rest his soul. I mean, he was the one that instigated and set up the Roy Shaw and Lenny McLean fights. So we do have that lineage as well. So our competitors, they'll be hard pushed, unless you're talking about Frank Warren or or Eddie Hearns of this world. They'd be hard pushed to be in a position to have that kind of lineage like we do. We do have a natural following socially in London. Predominantly because of Joey and Joey's family. And so, I think when we get set up and things get started, it should kick off, and the marketing will do itself, put it that way.
Was it hard to change, is it legislation, whatever you call it, the rules? Was it hard to do that? Were you being a barrister, it would be probably easy, wouldn't it?
The rules and regulations weren't too difficult. I mean, we've got our own mission. So the licensing body is separate. We don't want to have any, or we're not going to have any, what's the word I'm looking for? There's not going to be any underhandedness. We're going to have separation of powers and governing bodies, so there's not going to be any interference. But our rules and regulations, when we set that up, it wasn't too difficult. It's just time consuming to make sure everything's correct. But more than anything, we were designing the rules to force the pace of the fight anyway. So when we're talking about 100
sorry Dave, what is the rules of the fight? What is it? What is the difference?
We're going to have 5 100-second rounds. We're going to have a 100-second break in between to allow fighters to recuperate. The point system is going to be designed to force the knockout and basically award the aggressor. If there's going to be any clinching or holding or spoiling or anything like that, you will get penalised. And the fighter's going to know when they go back in between rounds, the fighters are going to know and be notified where they stand. They're going to be this, oh, you're doing great, keep doing what you're doing, when they know full well that their fighter's losing and behind. Because we're going to want that fighter to get up and get out there and put on a performance, close the gap, so to speak. So that will
fighters get the same? Will we got more for one fighter than the other fighter to fight the purse money?
Say that again.
You know the purse money they get. What do they get? What is it all for one person, or does the other one still get something if he loses? Or
no, both fighters will be getting paid, and the compensation scheme as well is something that we're looking at. We're looking to help fighters long term as well, post career. Anybody that's involved in the fight game will tell you, specifically the fighters, when their careers are finished, they don't really have much to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes their financial abilities or their financial. Sorry, say that again, Brian.
I just lost the feed there a little bit there, David. What did you say?
Okay. No, just we're looking after. We're going to be looking after the fighters. We're going to set them up on plans so they're going to be set up for life, or the best way possible. Brilliant. Because at the end of the day, the fighters are the ones that are entertaining us, and I don't think that always gets appreciated. But we're not going to have a journeyman, put it that way. But we're also not going to put the fighter in a position where they've got political power, and then they can start to dictate who they're going to fight, when they want to fight, and all of this business. Because once again, that's a big problem that's going on in boxing right now, where, classic example, Amir Khan, Kell Brook. That fight should have happened many, many moons ago.
Yeah.
Same thing as right now with what we're seeing between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. There's too much there's too much politics at play. And, the best aren't fighting. But Mayweather, another classic example. That happened probably 5 years too late.
Yeah.
So we want to try to get away from that. So basically, we want to accommodate the fighter as much as possible financially, and as far as their health is concerned, potentially with their education. Can we get them into the career afterwards? Or can we help them with...
Yeah, I think that's a great thing, David, because a lot of people, when they've been fighters like myself and that, and you can't do it no more, you've come to the age where obviously tired and wait for no man, and you can't do it anymore, and then there's nothing to do. So a lot of people end up Frank Bruno, people like that, and Mike Tyson, and end up drugs, don't they? Because they're depressed. They haven't got that crowd behind. They haven't got the gym. They feel depressed
Ricky
because they're not.
Hatton, Joe Calzaghe, they want to get that high again. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they're looked after enough, and they're certainly not looked after very well over here in America. At the end of their career, here in America, it's a little bit colder. You go straight on crappy. Actually, Alex Saucedo, he's a friend of a friend here, and met him in passing a couple of times. He had the Maurice Hooker title fight at light welterweight a couple of years ago. He was with, I forget his name now, Triple G's trainer, Abel Sanchez. He was out there in California. He's a native of here, Oklahoma City. He had a brain bleed last summer in his last fight, and he can't do anything right now. None of his managers or promoters, they've come forward to help him out, and he put on some good fights. He's an aggressive fighter. He's a come forward fighter, but he's had that brain bleed, and so if we move Fight 100 to the US as well, which is natural progression for us. If we have a few good events in the UK, and we can build a market there for us, which is what we're looking to do. That's how we're looking to scale this business. Naturally, we're going to be to the US. We've got some friends over here already that are in place that are going to help us accommodate that. We've got the headquarters here as well, out of my law firm, and initially, and hope to bring on Alex Saucedo in some capacity to help him out as well. So we're looking at plans and things like that.
Yeah, it sounds really exciting. It does. I've been there. Obviously, you've been telling me. No, I know that.
Yeah, we've been talking in private. Can't say too much. We want to keep some of what we're going to be doing under wraps at the minute. So we have the big reveal and things like that. But
it's going to happen. We know that it's going to happen.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, then, David. I think I'll let you go. I know you're busy and you're tired, so have a great day, mate. We love you a bit. We'll speak to you soon. God bless you.
Likewise, Brian. Take care. Love and best wishes to you and Emma.